Hello everyone and welcome to the Ingles table. I'm Scott Culpepper and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my delicious oatmeal cookies with white chocolate, macadamia nuts, and dried cranberries. I've got everything I need from my local Ingles, so let's get started. First thing I've done is I've taken 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and then 1/2 teaspoon each of baking soda and baking powder. So I'm just going to whisk this to make sure it's all incorporated and no lumps from the flour is in there. So once you got that mixed, we'll set that aside. And then I'm going to take 1 cup of semi-softened butter with 1 cup of light brown sugar pressed. And then I'm going to add, well, not adding anything else at this point. I'm going to turn the mixer on. A stand mixer really does help a lot in this recipe because, as you see, once we get further down the road and start adding in the oats and all the other ingredients, it's gonna be really hard to muscle if you're using a hand mixer. But we want to mix this until the brown sugar and the butter come together and just starting to cream up. So after that's looking pretty good, cream, so we will take, I have 2 eggs. I'm going to add each egg one at a time until it's incorporated. Doesn't take long at all. Then I'll add the second egg. And then to that, I'm also going to add a couple teaspoons of vanilla. I like vanilla. You can use as much as you want, but I go 1.5 to 2 teaspoons. So now that's whipping up. It's going to be super creamy thanks to the eggs. And then to that, I'm going to start adding the flour mixture. That's going to thicken it up just a little bit. So we want to do this just a little bit at a time. Don't have your mixer on too high, otherwise you're going to blow the flour everywhere except for where it's supposed to go. I have my mixer set on the 2nd speed for this portion. It's starting to thicken up like a cookie dough would. Starting to make that cloud of flour. There we go. All right. Now that comes together quite quickly. So I'm going to add the oats last because that's when it starts to get tough on the blender. So in no particular order, I have 1 cup of rough chopped macadamia nuts. I'm just going to slowly add those in so it can combine separately. Then I rough cut 1 cup worth of dried cranberries. You could use raisins if you want, craisins, whatever. I particularly like the sourness of the cranberry. It pairs well with what's next is 1 cup of white chocolate morsels. So we're going to combine that together. You can see that it's starting to get really thick in here. And last, I'm going to add the oatmeal. And I have 3 cups of oatmeal. You don't want to use the instant oats for this particular recipe. These cook up better. The instant oats will make your cookies gummy. And this is a pretty basic oatmeal cookie recipe. I just twisted it a little bit to make it my own. So you can see it starting to come up the sides here. That's why we're going to add this slowly. So I'm just going to push this down to make sure that we continue to get everything mixed up. It only takes a few minutes, but you can see why a stand mixer would be easier than a hand mixer. I don't know if I'd blow my hand mixer up, but this mixes a lot better. So it's going to appear a little bit dry, but it's definitely cookie dough thick. So you can see that everything coming together. So I'm going to scrape everything off. back down into the bowl. So there is the cookie dough mixture. So now I'm going to take a parchment lined cookie sheet, and I like to use a large scoop for this. The reason being is because I like the larger cookies. So plus what we're going to do after we get all the cookie dough onto the cookie sheet, we're going to let these rest in the refrigerator for about 35 minutes. And the reason being is because we want that butter that's in there to kind of firm up a little bit. And what that's going to help the cookies do is when we put them in the oven, it's going to help the cookie maintain most of its shape. It's not going to pancake out and get flat. So when the cookies are done baking, when we remove them from the oven, we're going to have nice golden brown edges on them, and the center of the cookie is still going to be soft and moist. So I'm going to throw these in the refrigerator, and then I'm going to put them in the oven at 350. I'm going to cook them between 12 and 15 minutes, depending on your oven. Just keep an eye on them at the 12-minute mark. You want them to look like they're still raw in the middle, but they'll actually be cooked. So after that process, we'll be right back to check out the finished product. All right, so our cookies have finished cooking. We're right at the 15-minute mark for this one. But there's the finished product. So you can see how by refrigerating the dough at first, the cookies have kept their shape. They're just a little bit brown on the edges, and the center is still soft and moist. So these cookies are going to be great. They're going to be nice and chewy. Thanks so much for joining me here at the Ingles table. Be sure to check out the website for more tips, tricks, and recipes. I'll see you next time.